Yashwant?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, shall we start the program now?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
The future belongs to those who believes in the beauty of their dreams. A splendid morning to you all. It gives me an immense pleasure to start this auspicious occasion by greeting everyone. Today we have gathered here for the design thinking and critical thinking organized by Department of BCom Business Analytics and Institution of Innovation Council. Your presence will always mean more than any other present ever could. Giving encouragement to others is the most welcome gift. With pleasure, I may now welcome Dr. P. Surubrani ma'am, Head of the Department, BCom Business Analytics, to welcome the gathering.
Yes, most respected principal sir, respected resource person Dr. V. Saravanan sir, our beloved Dean ma'am, Dr. Kumura Devi ma'am, dear faculties and students, good morning to all. This is my privilege to welcome the gathering for this self-driven activity on design thinking and critical thinking. First of all, I would like to welcome the principal who have given the encouragement and opportunity to conduct this program. Welcome you, sir. I extend my warm welcome to our eminent resource person, Dr. V. Saravanan, CEO, Perpetual Systems, who had accepted our invitation with his schedule. Welcome you, sir. I also welcome our Dean ma'am, Dr. Kumura Devi ma'am. Welcome you, ma'am. It's my pleasure to welcome our faculties and friends from various departments, and some of the outsiders also joined here. I welcome you all. Will be given very good knowledge regarding our design thinking and critical thinking. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Now I hold my words and start with the program for the day. It's time to introduce our resource person. Dr. V. Saravanan started his career as a professor and director in Dr. NGP Institution of Technology. Then was Dean for Computing Studies in Dr. SNS Rajarajami College of Arts and Science. Currently, he is the CEO of Perpetual System from May 2020. He is well versed with 22 years of experience, with 15 years of post-PhD and 3 years of industry and research and development. With no further delay, I now hand over the session to our chief guest. Sir, on to you. Sir, Saravanan, sir. Sir.
Yeah, good morning to all of you.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, it's very nice to be, the part of your institution, and particularly, right. So, being the part of the higher education institutions is always a happy moment for me, and being working in this education field for the past, 23 years, and I am practicing much on the accreditation process and much into the quality, besides my the research and other things that what I have the experiences in national international domain. And first of all, I would like to thank the department for having given me the opportunity to share a few of my thoughts on design thinking and critical thinking with a simple case study. That is going to be an important thing, because I don't want just to be a theoretical session, because it's very too easy for all the students and faculty members to to learn the theory part very easily nowadays. Okay, but instead, if I could talk some of the experiences on or some of the case studies on design thinking and critical thinking, where it is used and how far you can use it as a faculty member or as a student, maybe now or in the future. I'm sure that this will be of more use to you, right? So my topic will be centered towards maximum will be towards on discussing some of the case studies, such as the proof of concepts and online repositories. Fine, so the design thinking and critical thinking, there are two aspects here. First, let us talk in one or two slides about what do you mean by this design thinking, and what is this critical thinking, and how best we can use this in our teaching learning with reference to a case study. Fine, if you see this concept of design thinking, you can notice that some of the higher education institutions in Coimbatore or even in India and abroad, they're using the design thinking for their curriculum. They say it is a design thinking curriculum or a lot of things. So this is one of the process, it is being used in various domains. So education is also one of the domain, particularly in the curriculum management, right? Curriculum design. This particular concept is being used by most of the institutions nowadays. Okay, let us see what this design thinking is all about. Okay, then slowly we will move on to the other aspects. Right. So why this is important nowadays? Before discussing what this concept is all about, let us see why this is important. What is the need of talking all those things, right? What is the reason for talking, about the design thinking? Because you're talking about the innovation everywhere now. You can see the innovation which happened in the, in your mobile communications or your mobile technology or in your communication technology. A lot of things are there. And we are interacting with various peoples from various geographical locations, right? And whenever you want to solve a problem, that in software or even in your case in the analytics or in the commerce side, whenever you want to solve a problem, previously we just discuss with some peers and take the decision, but it is not so nowadays, right? So we need to talk with many. There are many stakeholders, who's involving in, taking the, decisions. And we are into the way of, or we are into the social networking nowadays. Some way or other, right? We are using the Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram or there are many such tools which keeps coming in. Some way or other, right? We have to use it. It is not that I don't want to use the WhatsApp or Facebook, but some way or other we are forced to use the social technology. It means that the concept of the collaboration comes. The concept of so far we are talking about teamwork. That teamwork really it's working out now, right? So some way or other when we talk about innovation, we are involving quite a lot of people in the decision making purpose, right? So where we need to think about a new concept of design thinking, right? So what this is all about? So this design thinking is a human-centered approach. Whenever we take a decision, right, and it is centered about the human needs, and we try to explore the possibilities in a very detailed way here. What all the possibilities are there to solve a problem? We list out all the possibilities, right, and we explore and we choose few options. We try to focus on what is the purpose of this, right? When we are thinking about developing a curriculum, particularly in the commerce side, you have a lot of options nowadays, right? So computer science and commerce is the most talkative disciplines nowadays, and there are a variety of options are there in commerce, right? We had only become the Bachelor of Commerce, but now you have become business process, become business analytics, become IT, right, and become CA. A lot of flavors, right? A lot of flavors are there, right? So the options are plenty, and we need to be very clear about what's our options are all about. And we are going to do this process, right? And we are going to explore the possibilities, see the options, and when we feel like we are not happy with the options, again we are going to do this process, repeat this process. That's why we say it's an iterative process, right? And it is one of the very good tool, that is research tool, that is available, so that we can think about using the design thinking for the problem solving, right? So what is so beauty about this design thinking is you try to solve a problem and you explore many possibilities and choose some options and try to develop it and do the testing at any point of time during the the design thinking process. If you feel like you are not happy, you can go back, right, and change even the definition. That is our thing, right? There is a beauty, the potential to change even our definition of the problem itself as we learn more. Because initially, as we start solving our problems, we may feel like, we will be focusing on a particular problem statement. But as we progress or as we learn, there is a chance that, even we can think about redefining our problem, right? So when I say change even our definition, the sense, even more, rephrasing it or redefining your problem itself is possible in the case of design thinking, right? So how does design thinking is different from this, right? In the process of design thinking, here everybody designs, right? In the process of curriculum design, when you talk about, the students are studying 6 semesters and you are studying various, courses in it, and who designs this curriculum? Right, the departments provides you the curriculum. You may think that the HOD and faculty member is designing the curriculum. It is not the case in the case of design thinking, right? There are many stakeholders involved. We involve the alumni, we involve the job providers. That is very important. We try to go to the market, right? You are or your institution is offering, BCom business analytics. The reason behind is, right? So your institution might have carried out a study and identified that there is a huge demand for business analytics. There is a reason, you have started a course on this business analytics. So, you involve, job seekers and job providers, you involve the parents, you involve the faculty members, you involve the students, all, right? Maybe 6 to 7 people we involve. So everybody involves in designing this curriculum. We have many teams in it, right? So, and there are many stakeholders who will be involving in the design thinking process. Right. So as we progress, it is very easy for you for the teams to interact, teams to learn, and to come back, as I was pointing in the previous slide, because it is an iterative process. You can think about even coming back and redefining our problem. Right. Overall, if you see, the design thinking, there are 6 stages are there. Right. This is the design thinking stages. We try to empathize, the sense we try to understand what the problems. Then we try to define the problem. You come up with an idea, develop a prototype, right? Test it and implement it, right? And you see the 6 stages. From the second stage, you can come back to the first stage, or third stage, you can come back to the first stage, or whatever it is. Even during the testing phase, when you feel like there is some issue, you can come back, see where is the issue, whether the issue is with the empathized state or undefined state, right? So it is a 6-stage process. It is a sequence, one after another, one after another, one after another. Okay, and it is an iterative process. Even from the second step, you can go back to the first step, third to the second, fourth to, right? Like anywhere, right? Anywhere you can jump. It is not that it is not like a waterfall model we were talking about the previous design stages, right? When you say the waterfall model, right, like a waterfall, once it comes down, right, it is not possible for you to go back. It is very difficult, right? But it is not so in the case of design thinking, right? So as you move on in solving some of the problems using design thinking, you can always go back and do whatever changes that you require. So the first 2 stages we try to group it under the name of understanding. So the empathized state and the defined state, right? It is understanding. And ideate and prototype is exploring, where we try to explore with some ideas, and we try to explore with developing a model. And finally is a materializing, right? We test and implement it. This is about the design thinking, right? So it is one of the process which involves, but we use it for problem solving, right? We use it for problem solving. One example I was talking to you is about the curriculum design in the colleges, right? We can use even the design thinking to solve some of the problems in our, in our day-to-day life, right? Even in your job, right? So it is not that the design thinking is confined towards a particular application. Design thinking is a process. That's all. It is a way to solve the problem. It's a human-centered approach. You can think about applying this design thinking everywhere, right? Wherever you feel like there is a problem, try to involve all the stakeholders and take a decision. That is the part number 1. And part number 2, when you see, it's a critical thinking comes. What this critical thinking is all about. Of course, as the teachers or as the students, it is the process involves in our education institutions and teaching and learning. It is one of the core process. Thinking is very important here. As a teacher, it is very important for me to think and teach. And for the students, it is very important for you to think and learn what I teach. It's very important. At any point of time, we always interact each other, right? What this critical thinking is all about. Even some of the companies, when they recruit you, they'll ask you the critical thinking skills, right? Not just the thinking skills. So critical thinking is just one step beyond this thinking, right? So this critical thinking is, it always results in something like analysis or evaluation or inference. We try to, come to some conclusion in the case of a critical thinking. We do some analysis, make some evaluations, and come to a conclusion, right? It's not so in the case of a thinking. In the case of a thinking, you just think it. Okay, you just think what courses you can study, what job you can go, right? Suppose assume that you got a job in one of the very good financial concern, right? Okay, so that critical thinking is very important. You analyze it, whether this job is very, is it possible for you to take up this offer, or can you, go and work with that particular domain? Right? Do some evaluation, talk with the stakeholders, talk with some of your friends who is already working there, right? Or talk with some of, the employees who is working over there, or a lot of things are there. So you can always talk to them, right? In any form, right? Maybe email or direct interaction, whatever it is. We do the evaluation, then finally come to the conclusion, right? So this critical thinking is also again a process, right? It is a core process. It's very important for you, particularly, right? When you go for a job or any major decisions in your life, or particularly problem solve. That's all I can say. When I say problem solving, even choosing the correct offer for you, so what job you can go is again a problem solving, right? So again, like a lot of other applications that is available for design thinking. Critical thinking is also again a very good domain which we will talk about, right? So why this is very important here again, right? Of course, obviously there is only one answer here. It helps you in in moving forward with the very good smart skills. When I say smart skills, it's about decision making, problem solving, right? You want to refine your research skills, right? You want to have a very good, or you want to improve your creativity in your research or any other teaching learning process, right? It increases the curiosity in a particular subject so that you'll be able to do some research, or you will be able to, sharpen your, your knowledge in a particular domain. So that is a reason, right? Why do we use, or where we use, this critical thinking? So it is a two, keywords that I want to talk to you on, right? So one is about the design thinking, and the next is about critical thinking. So I'm sure that so you are able to get some idea about what this design thinking is all about and what this critical thinking is all about. So if you are confident in this two keywords, okay, we can easily move towards the case study that I have chosen, developing online repository of proof of concepts. So if you are if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat box now, or if you feel you are okay, at least you can type okay in your chat box. The design thinking and critical thinking. Okay, if you are okay, you can type okay in the chat box. There's two core concepts. Fine, good. So Yashwant, Sandeep, Ramya, Bharat, Sampurna, All are okay. Good. Nishant, Sharmada, all are. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your good words. Okay. So what this two concepts is all about, this is what we are talking. Okay. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, we'll be talking about a very simple case study of, using this design thinking and critical thinking, how do we use it in developing an online repository of proof of concepts. Fine. So for this event, I want you to understand what this small, case study is organized about. So we'll talk about what is a proof of concept, online repository. Then we'll talk about all the rest of the things. So ending with the guidelines. What is this proof of concept is all about? So you all are comfortable with the word proof. Somewhere or other, maybe in your, your 11th or 12th standard, or even in your graduation, you might have studied a mathematics paper. We always, use the word proof when we study mathematics, right? We try to prove it, proof, right? Like that, when you have some problem to be solved, when you have a problem to be solved, so why not you try to understand that problem in a more better way? That is what we're talking about, proof of concept. When you are comfortable with the word, or when you are comfortable with the fundamentals, when you're comfortable with the concept, I'm sure that it is very easy for you to, to practice all your accounting concepts or financial concepts or business analytics, whatever it is. That's why, if you have done well in the first year, automatically the second and third year will be easy for you. All right. So like the same way, here we try to understand the concept, right? So the concept is very important. You try to solve the problem using design thinking and critical thinking. Understand this concept. Okay. So we try to name it as a proof of concept. Let us see in a more detailed way. So it is something like creating evidence and documentation about the feasibility of an idea. You have an idea, you have the problem to be solved. Try to do some documentation, try to create some evidence on it, right? And try to document it. And when I say document, and this document will contain the details of the product, details of the problem to be solved, how you are going to solve the problem, what are the various options are there, right? Possibilities, and is there any constraints, right? A lot of things are there. So you have a complete documentation about a particular thing. Right? So very simply, I can just put it in another way. You have a problem to be solved, and you develop a manual, a documentation. This manual will contain all the things needed for this particular problem to be solved, starting with the definition, designing, process, the limitations or areas of concern, all the things to be done. Okay, so where the concept of or where the proof of concept comes from. If you see the various stages in product development, I have given to you, right? So you can see this 6 stages which is given to you. You have an idea, right? Your idea is you want to develop a product. What is this product? You want to develop a small bottle, right? So that you have an idea. See the second stage, you just make a sketch of it. You just make an outline of the diagram, right? It is called a sketching, right? Number 3 is a proof of concept. The output of the sketch, you draw the outline. You draw the outline. So there is a third phase, right? And from the third, you move to the fourth stage. It's called prototyping, right? Prototyping is nothing but models. Okay, you want to design a bottle, but what kind of bottle you want to have? There are 4 kinds of bottles are available here. Okay, 4 kinds of models I develop, and I try to demonstrate. So from this, one is chosen by the user, right, as a final product. You can see that. So this 6 stage, your product development process. Okay, so the proof of concept comes in the third phase, right? So in this third stage, whatever you think and whatever you feel like you're drawn, it seems to be correct, and you can notice the final product also, right? When there is a problem in the final product, when you're not satisfied in the final product or prototyping, you can always come back to the idea and go back and do it again. It is an iterative process. This process is an iterative process. So that is what I'm talking about. The proof of concept comes here. Okay, so you try to document it very clearly. So try to have your proof of concept with you, have a document with you, which contains all the details, the complete life cycle of the product. You try to have it. Explore all the possibilities and do the three things I was talking, the critical thinking, right? You do the analysis, right? You make the evaluation, then finally you make the what do you call it as? Finally you just reach the conclusion. That is what we call it as inference cases, right? Inference. That is what we talk about. Okay, so the three cases. So both the design thinking and critical thinking is being very detailedly demonstrated and is being applied in these stages. So what in which way this particular proof of concept is different from prototype, or we call it as minimum value product in some cases. Okay, so what the proof of concept, if you just see the first column is given here. The proof of concept is the initial test of an idea, whereas prototype is a working model, right? So it is the initial case. Proof of concept is you have drawn it. Okay, you have drawn a diagram. Proof of concept is a drawn diagram. Whereas if you see the prototype is a working model, there are 4 different bottles available. You can test it. You can use it. Right? You can do the analysis. You can do the evaluation on these 4 products and choose one. Whereas you cannot use the the proof of concept. Right? Proof of concept, whatever you have, the output of proof of concept or whatever you have in the proof of concept is just an it is an initial test of an idea or method or a product. What is the purpose of this proof of concept? It shows the product potential and feasibility in a real world settings. How it will look like when you want to you manufacture a bottle, and how it will look like really. What kind of bottles are really needed by the end users? That is very important. This phase we call it as an ideation phase. Idea. Still you are the ideation. But when something is being done very detailedly on the ideation phase, I'm sure that it is very easy for you to move to the prototype or in the other stages. So what I'm trying to talk, what I'm trying to conclude in this process is, right? So the basic thing is understanding of the problem, right? In any of your domain, your business analytics domain. So try to develop your proof of concept and keep it with you. And it is an ideation, and you write it. It is a document. But once the product is being developed in terms of a prototype or a final product, sometimes it may be it may cost more. Even to develop a prototype, you have to spend some money. You can come back always. That is possible, but it is not possible for you to to get back all the money that what you have spent in developing a prototype and a product. So see that you are spending a lot of time in doing the initial testing or taking your idea and method and doing the documentation, which we call it as a proof of concept. Very simply, okay, this slide gives you the abstract of what I was talking in the previous 2 slides. Do you have an idea? Right? You have any idea for a problem to be solved? Right? You assume that you have an idea for anything, for any problem to be solved. If you think you have an idea, and just see whether your idea is unique. Just see your idea is unique. Okay. If your idea is unique, yes, you develop a proof of concept. You develop a proof of concept. If your idea is not unique, right, then there is no need of developing a proof of concept. Right? That's very clear. So the proof of concepts to be developed or the documentation should be written or prepared only when the idea is something. It is not that something which is already existing. You want to develop a proof of concept, or you want to develop some, you want to build some prototype or models. So be very clear on that. If you feel like you have an idea, and if your idea is unique, go with the proof of concepts. Right? When does the need for proof of concept happens? Right? What is the need for proof of concept in your problem solving? Right? Suppose if you feel like it is necessary to check if the idea changes the values. You have an idea, and surely if you feel like the idea will change the value of yourself or your institution or your department, right? When I say the changes, it should increase. Right? It should be the positive side. Right? And when you feel like, you have to make sure that your the existing limitations or existing problems are to be solved or determined very correctly and solved it, you can think about using proof of concept. And it is very important that you may have an idea, but is it technically possible for you to develop, for you to implement it? That is very important. So technical possibility is very important here. Technical possibility is important. So the technical possibility itself, you are making a lot of research and doing some kind of documentation. And if you feel it is correct, then fine, right? And when you have some solution, you have an idea, and you have a solution. And when you feel like the solution is a real solution, really matches the target of all your audience, students or faculty or your corporate, whatever it is, you can think about using the proof of concept. So what is the key steps here? Like, the design thinking, same like a design thinking, right? You try to define what is the need, you try to ideate the right solution for it, build a model, test the model, and you create a roadmap. Let us see, right? What I am just giving is the theoretical steps. Okay, this is number one, proof of concept. Then we have something called an online repository nowadays, right? So most of the educational institutions or companies, they have the online systems nowadays. They may have a ERP system, or at least they may have a very simple system which takes care of the academic details and the fee details of the student, or the department may use a very simple ERP system which has the faculty database and some important information about the activities going on the department. So online repository is a service that an institution offers for the management and for the stakeholders. Now you are a student, you are studying in this KPR or such college, and you just study for 3 years and go out, right? And even after you go out or so many years, you like to access your department website and you like to see what are all the who's studying at present and what kind of assignments or assessments are given, what kind of questions are being asked, or you want to access your marks or whatever it is, or what is the recent happenings in the department, right? It is not just simply a website I'm talking about. It is a repository which contains all the needed details of a particular stakeholder. If it is for the student. If it is for the faculty, right? So, so what we try to use it here, we try to use this proof of concept in online repositories. So which we try to do the technical feasibility and identify the expectations and try to see, right? So now the problem is here. What is the problem now? What is the problem I have identified is I want to develop an online repository for my institution, or you want to develop an online repository for your college or for a department, right? Whether the faculty or student, you want to develop something for the department, right? Now try to use a proof of concept. Okay, just because you want to develop an online repository, tomorrow itself don't go and download some software and no, it is not like that. Okay, so try to use the proof of concept, that is basically the design thinking and critical thinking, and try to see whether you can use it. What is the objectives of online repository? What is the need? Why? What is the reason I have chosen this online repository? There are three important things here. Number one, this online repository that what I am proposing, it's going to be an open access, right? So that anybody, not only your faculty member, not only your student, right? If you feel so, right, you can open to the public also, or to all the KPR team, whatever it is. It is an open access. You don't need to have any, there is no username and password. You work in intranet or internet or whatever it is. and automatically the visibility increases, right? So whereby you try to preserve all your digital assets in a very well, right? Whatever digital assets you feel like is worth for your department, is worth for your college, you can think about. Why? What is the reason behind choosing this online repository? For the individual, right? It may be useful for you to archive all your work, whatever work I have done, my research work, my teaching, right? My experience, my publications, right? My projects, my research projects or funded projects or student projects, right? My guest lectures, right? All the courses I have taught in this institution for the past 5 years, right? And the complete course profile and handouts, whatever it is. For the individual, it acts as it's an archive, which acts as a full CV in the sense completely contains all the details. And for the institutes, for the colleges, right, it is acts as source to accreditation agencies. Like the college would like to go for a NAC accreditation or any other accreditation. You may face it very, sometimes or most of the times it is very difficult for you to collect all the data that is needed. So once you have an online repository, I'm sure that this will be much useful for you to get the needed data from the repository. And there is a new faculty member who joins your department or college. Once they refer the repository, they'll get all the details that what they want, right? It is not, or whatever the output or what is the outcome that you think it is mandatory for your course, you have to make it public to the at least to the department or the college, so that they all can use it. What this online repository may contain, right? Now it is a design thinking and critical thinking. I'm just doing a lot of analysis, I'm doing a lot of thinking, and I'm going to conclude saying that yes, online repository will be good for me, right? Fine. Now what this online repository is all about, we have talked. What are the contents? Now you list out all the contents that is that you want to upload in the online repository. Right? So whatever your rules, policies, employee information, teaching material, projects, your thesis, all photograph, video of your institution, all the things, your brochures, admission related, all the things. Define it very clearly. There are certain things which may not be possible for you to get it, and you define it in this stage itself. What is the core features that I am developing, right? So my objective is to develop an online repository, but you see what are the background works I am doing. Previously, I was talking about the content. Now I'm talking about what are the features. It's completely digital. It is community driven and focused, in the sense all the faculty members of these institutions can access, or it is open to the public. It is open to all the community and institutionally supported, and it is a durable and permanent. It is going to be permanent. Like whoever is here, whether the faculty members stays for a long time or for short time, that doesn't matter. Whoever is, right? So the institutional, the accreditation agencies, whenever they request the data, you can easily retrieve it. The contents are going to be accessible content, right? And you have to convert it. There are some contents which is not accessible, and you convert into an accessible content, right? Generally, how does this repository works? I'm not talking much technically here, and there should be a server, and you should have your own organizational LAN for that. You should have a safe web browser, and all your security concerns should be addressed. It should be handled very well, because it is going to be an open access. The security is very important at any point of time, right? Or anybody can get inside your server and they may try to do something. All the security related things. In the sense, why I'm talking about all these 4 aspects here, because it involves money. The cost factor is very important here. Okay, don't just simply you have an idea and you try to implement it tomorrow itself. Have a detailed study out how this will work. It just an environment of how this online repository is being hosted, is stored in a server, and is being submitted by a user, and it is stored in your server or in a cloud environment, particularly nowadays, you can think about. And there is an end user who retrieves it. Okay, not technical. And we have some IR softwares nowadays, right? So because I was talking about open source, okay. So it is not that whatever problem you have, whatever the problem that you want to solve, we have some good softwares available with us nowadays. So don't try to just simply go and develop a software development. Okay, don't do that. We have some good softwares which is open source, and some of the things are commercial. Softwares are available for licensing, right? It uses some software. The softwares are also free nowadays. There are some good servers that you need from Intel or KTM based servers, right? And if you see the other softwares that we are using, particularly in the server side, Linux or MySQL or Apache, Tomgate, Perl, Java, which all are free for you. Okay? That's why we can think about using some open source softwares also. So now this slide you have to make a decision whether you are interested in going for open source software or commercial software, right? And there are some top 3 institutional repository software I am giving it here. Suppose if you have the time, you can think about it. So there is one online repository called DSpace. Okay, I have given the link here. I will send you the PowerPoint. So this link, if you open, it is one of the college in Karnataka. So they have developed an online repository, right? So there is a college in Canada which has the repository, and they both use the DSpace. So the DSpace is again the famous the online repository software, and we also have the ePrints. ePrints is the FOSS. It is an open source, right? And this ePrints is used by University of Southampton from UK, and Fedora is again an open source, is being used by University of Virginia, USA. If you click all those 4 links given here, you will get a very clear idea about the various the modules of this online repository software. And what are the various softwares repositories available in the world? You see, so the DSpace takes 39%, followed by the ePrints, which takes around 12%, right? So what are the things that you want to use it? Be clear on it. It's a survey that I'm doing. Software-wise repositories available in Asian countries. One I've done in the world and one for the Asian countries, right? So again here, DSpace takes a maximum, and next comes the Vico, and the ePrints is 15%. What about India? Software-wise repositories available in India. Again, DSpace is 53%. Okay, ePrints is 35%. Like when you do a small survey from all over the world and then Asia to India, you will get a clear idea about who takes a major role, right? Which software is famous. You can do something. What about in India? When we talk about institutional repositories in India and abroad, right? I have given the top institutions in India and abroad. Indian Institute of Science, which uses ePrints. Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, IIT Bombay, DSpace, IIT Delhi, ePrint, IIT Roorkee, DSpace, MIT, DSpace, California, again, eScholarship, University of Michigan, they use a Deep Blue from IBM. So these are all some of the online repositories which is being used by eminent institutions from India and abroad. And what about the core issues here? What are the problems that may have? Policy decisions are very important, right? Because there are certain things that you don't want as institution to share it, and there are certain privacy issues are there that you have to address it. It's not possible for you to share all the photographs and videos sometimes. So organizational issues may have, cultural issues may have. Right? Whatever I feel it is good for my country, it may not be good for others. Right? Cultural issues, whatever you feel it is good for Coimbatore may not be good for other cities sometimes. So cultural issues are there. You have to manage, all these things. So in this proof of concept that I have developed using the design thinking and critical thinking, so I have done some initial study and all the technical things and core issues. And if I use online repositories for my business, what are all the advantages? right? And a lot of things you can think about. The communication is faster, and if the faculty member is uploading the publication and making it online and open source, the publication citation is being increased, and it acts as a good communication channel, so that whatever data that you have is being referred by many. There are certain things you can make it public. There are certain data that is private for your organization. You can keep it as a private, but data should be in the repository, right? And what kind of permissions you are going to give to get access from private and public, and who is private and who is public, and you can define. That is what your policies comes, your organizational policy decision comes, right? These are all some of the best practices used by some of the institutions, right? And what is a checklist that you have to develop, in online repositories? That is very important. What is your goal, right? And see that whether all the things or whatever specifications you have developed is being met, and see that you are following the timeline. That is very important nowadays, because we try to start something and we just keep on doing, and finally we fail it. You know that around 30 to 40% of the software products are being failed just because that it is not being delivered within the timeline. Timeline is very important, and try to see that it is being implemented and the organization value it. There are some organizations who spend a lot of money on bringing the technology inside, and they will have all the things, right? And they do implement it, and they give the user training, everything they do, but it's not being valued. The real value of that is not being is not taken seriously by the stakeholders, right? And so see that the cost is always very important. See that whether you have the enough money, or fund to complete this project, right? Okay, and priority is very important. It is not that you always give the first priority to the repository, and assess the productivity of your employees. What is the productivity level of your employees before the online repository or after that, right? Is your technology is being discussed among all the people? Because this is very important nowadays, right? The way the peoples are interacting. We are talking about the UI design, UX design nowadays, right? User interface design. The background, the software or the technology may be working, but if you are not satisfied about the way, how you are interacting with the system, so there you may have some issues. So what is the guidelines for a successful proof of concept here? Okay, so you try to learn something. You have the data, and you try to learn from the data. You get some idea, then build on it, and it reaches the product, right? So the data is converted into idea and is being developed as a product. Try to measure the product, and when you feel like there is some issue and something is not being done, again you take some data and learn it, and it's a circle, right? It's a cycle. It just continues. These are all some of the references I have used it for preparing this presentation, as well as to some of my talks. So again, thank you very much for all of you for having given me this opportunity to talk few of my experiences. So I was talking about the design thinking and critical thinking, and very important a case analysis called online repository. So my objective is to have an online repository for my organization. For that, I have used the proof of concept and done a lot of base work for whether I can go and implement the online repository or not. That is very important. Just because I have the proof of concept, it is very easy for me. So I concluded that yes, online repository will be useful for me at any point of time. So I have listed out the advantages, core issues, technology, and the timelines to be considered, everything. So again, thank you very much, and so I'll be happy to take up a few questions if you have any.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Dear
you.
students, if you are having any questions, kindly clarify with sir. Dear students, you can ask some of the questions. Dear students, if you are having any questions, we can continue. Otherwise, shall we wind the session?
Ma'am, good morning, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Can you permit me for a few minutes? I interact
Sure,
with
ma'am. Please, ma'am. Always you are welcome, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please.
respected resource person of the day, Dr. V. Saravanan sir,
Yes,
and Head Department of Commerce, Swarubrani madam, and faculty and dear children. Very good morning, all of you. Sir, I enjoyed your session. Actually, I'm a commerce faculty, but
Thank you, ma'am.
you are a person to explain the things, the design thinking, critical thinking, and product planning. Really is very wonderful, sir. So I learned
Thank you very
something
much.
on this concept today. So kindly visit our institute, sir. One day we are
Sure.
having a direct session for us and children also.
Sure, ma'am. We'll have, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah, it's very wonderful, sir. So
Thank
we
you.
are the institute for IIC. We are doing this program in a very meticulous way. So
Okay.
such a way that today you have program design thinking. With your
Okay.
permission, this is thing we are upload the website also.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
IIC portal we are uploading.
Okay.
Sir, the prototype and other things, as a commerce guy, how can they improve themselves on this particular component, sir? Prototype and other.
No, it is an intermediate working model of any business idea, ma'am. That's it, So
Okay.
the software and all, will be able to see something really, by working on the system. But in the case of a business related thing, it is a product, or it may be, sheet, balance sheet, or it may be some, product that you really see. And by seeing this, yes, you'll see, yes, this is what I'm looking for. An outline, I can say simply it is a framework, an outline of what you aim for.
Okay. Okay. Sir, one responsibility for us to conduct some idea hackathon for one of the IIC component. Thing is that the majority of our children is doing their commerce and management education here. Our institute is a 3-year institute. We have this particular program only. We don't have any basic science and life science program.
Fine.
So that's why the majority of them, this kind of stuff, no. That's the aspect I'm asking the prototype, how it's possible for children.
Okay, fine. It's just a framework, ma'am. You can put it in any way. Maybe you can even, the students can even just draw a table or draw a diagram or draw your accounting terms, whatever way, whichever way you put it. It is an intermediate model. That's all. It may not be a working model, but seeing the model, you will get some idea. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Kindly do visit our institute.
Sure,
and
ma'am. Sure.
Future we inviting you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
meet.
you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Swarubrani, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I think your department taken a good effort today.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeshwant?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Gratitude is not the word, but it in the heart which expresses it. With pleasure, I invite Elil Vendan of KPRCAS, second BCom Business Analytics, to propose the vote of thanks.
On behalf of KPR College of Arts, Science and Research, I thank this opportunity to propose vote of thanks. At the outset, I think our management, who is supporting all our development opportunities, would like to thank our respective principals of Dr. S. Paulson. I express warm rating towards our intimate research person, Dr. V. Saravanan, CEO, Resource System, Coimbatore, for giving depth insights of design thinking and critical thinking. My sincere thanks to Dr. K. Devi, Dean, School of Commerce, and Dr. P. Subrahmanyan, Head of Department, BCom Business Analytics. And I like thanks all the faculty members of the Department of the never-ending inspection. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Elil Vendan. Students, please fill the feedback form which is posted in the comment section.
Saravanan sir, thank you very much, sir. Hello. Dear students, kindly fill the form.
Yes, ma'am.
Kindly fill the feedback form, Kana. Those who are filling the feedback form, they'll get the attendance. Inform your friends also. Fill the form immediately, ma.